Hey folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our graphic novel for today is Hellboy in Hell, Volume 1, The Descent, The Descent by Dark Horse Comics. Now there is violence, beheading, demons, hell, Satan, ghosts, monsters, skeletons, bugs, blood, ripping limb from limb, cults, and black magic, or all magic. In this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, in front of you are everyone who worked on this. As in with most of these, the story and art were made by Mike Mignola. Don't really recognize anyone else, I don't think. Alright. So it's been a little bit since I read some Hellboy. Last one I read, I finished the last part of Young Hellboy, the miniseries. I haven't read anything since, so then I picked this up. Now this story here, I've recently acquired the box set with all the Hellboy omnibuses. Now, what's in here, I'm pretty sure happens in the last omnibus, the fourth one. I think maybe might be the beginning of that one. Yeah, a lot of this I'm starting to realize all these are, what was there but came out in volumes. And those are the omnibuses. But oh well, it is what it is. I'll read any Hellboy. I will get to those omnibuses eventually, and I'll just read some things I've already read. Yes, anyway. Well, that's that. It's in there, so this continues later. Ooh. And I wonder how it ends. Alright, so our story begins with Baba Yaga and Edward Grey. They're talking about what happened. Maybe this is the second one. But anyway, Hellboy was fighting this dragon, and the dragon killed him. He was killed. I was like, no, not my Hellboy. But yeah, he gets killed here. And starts to... Well, he doesn't fall into hell. He falls into the abyss first. There's all these bugs. Very Lovecraftian. Yeah, he falls in. He falls into there. And then he comes across... it's a Duke of Hell. His name is Eli Ghost. Yeah, I'll leave his name up here. It's a certain Duke he fought before in a previous story. And he starts attacking him, but he is saved by Sir Edward Grey. Which actually, it was already last year. I read, it was a one-shot of what happens after this. Actually. Or not after, well yeah, I guess sometime after this that happens. With Sir Edward Grey. I think, no, that's not him on the cover. Right, anyway. Sir Edward Grey helps Hellboy escape. He takes him somewhere else, and they don't have a long time before the Duke comes back. As he's really out to get Hellboy because of Hellboy got demoted and stripped of his titles and all that. So he's obviously very, very unhappy. Edward Grey helps him escape. And then... Yeah, he helps him escape. He sends him away somewhere to this... Well, I guess that might be in hell or a place in hell. It's kind of like its own city. And then Hellboy meets... It's these three ghosts, or... I'm not sure that they're ghosts. This is one of them. But they seem to have watched Hellboy from the beginning, it looks like. They also appear in that one-shot I read. And they're here as well. As Hellboy exits, I mean, he appears. Edward sends him somewhere else, and he's standing there. And he sees a puppet show, and then one of them appears, and takes Hellboy with him to somewhere, and it tells him, it takes him to his birthplace where Hellboy was born, and it tells him some stuff about his birth. And he tells him, do you know who's down here? We also see his dad. He's frozen in a block of ice, still alive. Anyway, he tells him, come down here. And then things change again. And Hellboy suddenly meets his uncle, his dad's brother. So Hellboy's dad isn't Satan. He's a powerful demon, but he's not Satan. Anyway, he meets his uncle, hears more details about what happened when he was born, because the right hand of Doom, Hellboy wasn't born with it. He had another normal hand just like this one, but it was chopped off when he was born by his father, and they attached the right hand of Doom to him to... his father had a purpose, though it's not yet clear here what it was. And then, I don't know, these great... I think it was one of those, the big dragon creature. Anyway, someone came to destroy everything. And Hellboy's dad sent him away to save him. And that's when he was sent to Earth, and he was with the... And he met the professor when Rasputin summoned him. Right. Sorry, my throat today. Let's see. Now, when he's there talking to his uncle, they're teleported somewhere else. And he meets two of his brothers. And quite a big amount of brothers, it seems. So that now, his father's not there, and someone needs to reclaim the throne. As this ghost tells him, it takes him, the throne is yours now, you can have it. And Hellboy, as always, is not interested. Both of his brothers, I won't remember their names, we'll just leave them. And as it is, both of his brothers start fighting him. This is all mainly manipulated by the uncle. He wants the right hand of Doom. He's just going to manipulate whoever wins. One brother is beating him, the other brother is about to get there as well, but Hellboy holds his own very well. And then let's say the bigger brother, the buffier one, starts disrespecting their father, saying he was a fool. And when he gets the right hand of Doom, and he's gonna awaken him, and he'll tell him that before he kills him. The uncle gets very angry at that and beheads him. And the other brother's like, Uncle, what have you done? Yeah, anyway, it's clear he's there just to manipulate. And then suddenly this big creature, Leviathan, just bursts out of Hellboy standing on some ice. There's somewhere cold, I forgot to mention. Just bursts out of the ice down below and just swallows the uncle, the brother, and the body of the other brother. Chomp! And that's it. And Hellboy is just left there standing, and the ice begins to melt, and then one little demon arrives. He helped Hellboy when he was... I guess it's in a previous story before this one. I'm not sure exactly what's the timeline for it. But yeah, he tells him, well, congratulations, now you are nothing. That's it, there's no one to want the throne. Well, now the uncle's dead. I forgot to say this, I always forget something. All the dukes of hell and princes and whatnot, they all... The place he is after the abyss is in Pandemonium. That's where this ghost takes him. That's where Satan is. That's where everyone was. That's where his throne is. And now there's no one to, try to claim Pandemanium. So there's that. Right, where was I? Right, so Hellboy is drifting again in the abyss. As he was just on that block of ice and we see all the bugs and creatures again. So he's just drifting there. And then... Oh wait, that was... just a second. But then Hellboy is saved from the abyss by Edward Grey. Edward Grey is in this house. He's standing in front of a mirror and doing some spells. Right, before Edward sent him away, he was about to fight the Duke. And he said, if we meet again, we'll talk some more. He rescues him. Now Hellboy's, all depressed. He would be too. He lost all his loved ones. He's dead. He's now, in hell. Or in a city in hell. And he seems to have slightly given up, which isn't, from what I read from Hellboy, is not really like him. And Edward even tells him that. And so tells him, watch it. I managed to rescue you this time. I don't think I'll manage it a third time. So they sit and talk in his house now. At first, Hellboy doesn't know who he is. But now that they talk, he confirms that, yes, I'm Sir Edward Grey. And we hear what actually happened to him. So Sir Edward Grey was in the service of Her Majesty Queen Victoria in England for about 10 years. But then they had a sort of argument, a dispute. And he stopped being her agent and he became a private detective. I'm not sure these 10-year periods when he was in the Silver Lantern Club, or was that after that, or before, or during. I'm not sure. Anyway, now there's this cult that he's been, I've read also the Silver Lantern Club, and sorry if you hear any noise. The Silver Lantern Club, and there's this cult he complained about all the time. So he's been, on top of that, he's been following them very closely. And when they all fled to Europe, he followed them, as they were doing all sorts of experiments and gathering things. And when he finally caught them, and went where they were, he saw that they summoned one of the other Dukes of Hell. They had all these machineries and everything. They thought they could contain him or capture him to do what the hell, what would they plan to do with him? That's a question Edward Grey does not want to contemplate. And yeah, they are nuts, so hell knows what they wanted to do with them, really. Then, now the machines broke, and the Duke was being sucked back into hell, but before he went there, he grabbed Edward with him, cursed him with immortality, and then just ripped him to shreds. Just like that, and just thrown him, and he was in Acheron, one of the rivers of hell, one of the 4 rivers of hell. It's even in a book, The Last Paradise. I should read that. Paradise Lost, sorry. I should read that one day. But luckily for him, there were these little demon creatures who, they gathered him together, or they gathered as much of him as they could, and they sewed him back. Sewed him back together, and they helped him reach this house. So there was this warlock. I'll leave his name here on screen. There was this warlock who made a deal with hell, or with the demon, to sell his soul. And when it was time to come and reclaim it, it was going to try to, evade his masters. So the hell sent a lot of demons to Scotland, and they picked up his house and dragged it to hell. Now, he didn't survive moving to hell, going there. And before he died, he, first of all, he has to be pardoned for what he did, and he also left, not an engraving, Anyway, well, yeah, let's call it engraving something on his house, on the house wall, so no demon, no creature of hell can enter it. Now, Edward's no creature of hell, and Hellboy isn't a simple creature of hell. As he asks him, well, how am I here? And that's where Edward's been. So that's this house. The reason Hellboy asks him even is because there's a painting there called Death Riding an Elephant by this artist. Now, I did look up, and that artist doesn't exist. It was something created for the story. But it's quite a cool painting. I mean, I'd buy a copy of it and hang it in my house. But yes, well, you know, now Hellboy doesn't know what to do. And Edward understands him. You know, he lost everyone who cared about him. He's now dead, but he tells him, you know, think of this as a new beginning. You are now free. No, you know, no one wants the right hand of doom anymore. You can do as you wish. And then he sends Hellboy back into the city. That's called city. And we see that when he tells Hellboy all this, he takes off his robe, and we see how he's been sewn back together. Some shit, let me tell you. Now, Edward is still sitting in the house, and the ghost of, I think it's the ghost of the Warlock, appears and says, "You lied to Hellboy," because Hellboy's not free. There are still things that Hellboy is going to do, at least 3 more things, and Edward says that he took one of those on him. I take it these are going to be very bad things. Because he's going to be damned, he's been told. So there's that. What is going to happen? And to get to those omnibuses. But yes, anyway. Not Edward. So, Hellboy just sits there. And then the last part of the story, essentially, he's just sitting in the city smoking. Sorry, that was the door. He was sitting in the city smoking, and then someone approached him, this man, and then tells him, excuse me, I'm looking for this cemetery, can you help me find it? So this gentleman was a soldier, and back when he was a soldier, he and 2 other soldiers, not abandoned, what's the other word? Anyways, there's another word for it. I'll leave it here. But yes, they abandoned and hid in a church, and then this demon came along and made them a deal. He gave each of them a whip that when they crack it, they get golden coins from it, and also gave them 7 years to live. And in the end, now they could get their souls. They could keep their souls. In the end, they would have to go to hell, but they can keep their souls if they guessed what would be waiting for them for dinner there. And then you'd think, like, why would you be so stupid to agree to something like that? And even Hellboy tells him that. He's like, you agreed to that? Yeah, I mean, how can you guess such a thing? And why would they give you food in hell? So Hellboy said, you know what, sure, why not? I'll help you look for the cemetery. Let's go. Now, this guy was alive, and he goes, because as he's alive and walking, he walks, when he was still in the world of the living, he walked, trying to get to the place where he would be taken, and then he meets a snake. And the snake tells him, go here, find the demon you made the deal with, find his grandmother, she can help you. I don't know what the snake is meant to be, though. So that's how he ended up here. So he and Hellboy, they move, they start going, and they don't know how to, where to find his grandmother. But then 2 other soldiers that this gentleman knew, they tell him, follow us. They show them the way, and then they go into this grandmother's house. They come in and Hellboy does the talking. And then she says, show me your hand. He shows her a stone hand, but she says, no, your other one. And I guess she looks at it, and I wonder if she essentially can tell that Hellboy killed Satan. Oh yeah, I didn't mention. Oh, fuck, I forgot to mention a lot of stuff. Hellboy killed Satan in this one. This ghost here, showed him come down below, and he killed Satan, but he doesn't remember he did it. Which is curious, isn't it? Did he just block that memory? It's hard to see how time works in hell. I'll explain that in a minute. Alright, so that happened. I don't know if she can tell, but she says, alright, I'll help you. As it so happens, my grandson's about to come visit me. So, you need to hide while I try to get the information for you. Alba's like, where are we supposed to hide? And then she waves her hand, shrinks them, and puts them in a skull lamp she has, and tells them to be quiet. The grandson flies in, he changes shape. The grandma's like, who are you? And he changes shape, and he's like, my favorite boy. And she gives him wine, and they start talking. She's like, so what's going on in the world? The grandson, the other world? And she says, no, our world, because he tells her about that he's going to collect souls. And he tells her about what happened in Pandemonium, how all the dukes and princes escaped, and those that escaped with their armies were killed and torn apart by their armies. The demons who were slaves in Pandemonium are now the ones that occupy it. And since he has no master now, he's just going to... Oh, that's it. He's just... Sorry. Since he has no master, he's just going to, keep to himself now. Continue collecting souls. And his grandmother asked, well, what do you do now? He said, I'll go collect the souls, I'll keep 2, and I'll bring you 1. And she says, well, how are you so sure that you will? And then he tells her about the deal he made with them, and she laughs. And then he describes what they will have for dinner. So the man in the lamp's like, yes. Anyway, the grandmother persuades her grandson to stay for some more wine. He falls asleep. She opens the little skull. Well, it's not little. She opens the skull and says, you better go quickly, because he won't be asleep for long. And then the guy says, God bless you, madam. Thank you. Really, my dude? Not the thing to say to someone from hell. I don't think they like God down there too much, if you know what I'm saying. So then she's all angry. Even that's like, dude, don't say that. She just throws them. She throws them out essentially. Well, at least they made it out alive and got the information. Hellboy tells them, not the best thing to say. Well, now they're in the cemetery, and the man's thinking, how do I get now to where I need to go? Because he has until midnight to reach, and because the grandson flies away as they're standing outside. But then the snake reappears and says, well, come on, I'm here, follow me. And not a moment too soon, because then we start hearing a clock. And then the man says to Hellboy, thank you for your help, but how I believe this? What if this is just a dream? And Hellboy tells him, well, what do you got to lose? And then the man starts to lose his skin and becomes a skeleton and follows the snake. Then the 2 soldiers we saw before this that helped them get there, they don't want to go back into their graves, so they'll tell Hellboy, we want to join you. Hellboy says, well, do you know a good place to get a drink? And then it ends with a little summary about the man. How he, when he was walking, it says, I'll tell you his name now. Oops. Moved. Tell you his name now. Just a second. Just a sec. I should have planned this a bit better. Oh, there we go. His name was Julius Dolot. Yeah, so anyway, it was in Paris, and he died in 1890. In 1819, and someone etched the words, his soul, his own. So we get from that he managed to keep his soul. I wonder if the other two soldiers did. I guess not, though. They didn't know the answer, after all. And that's it. We see the snake crawling away from him, so I guess he died by being bitten by a snake. And that's it. That's where the story ends. Oh, this was quite the adventure, wasn't it? And I really gotta go back and read everything in order. Start to see the destruction and everything. I swear, there's so much that happens in Hellboy's universe. And this is why I love Hellboy so much, and the whole universe of it. All the magic, all the stories that are being used in here. You got Baba Yaga, you got Satan, everyone. And all the adventures Hellboy probably goes through. Because it does say in another one, and I know what I meant about the time, because Hellboy, I guess, dies somewhere after 2003. Or maybe slightly before that. But then this man died in 1819. So it's like, what's with the timeline then? Did only now his soul, was he walking for, like 2 centuries then? That's why I don't understand. It is hell after all, so time probably works all fucked up in there. So also another thing is Hellboy doesn't have one of his eyes here. I guess prior to this, I'm not sure when, he gives one of his eyes to Baba Yaga. As we see in the beginning, because she is talking to Edward Grey about Hellboy. And how now he's in hell and Edward Grey wants to find him. Oh, quite the ride. Well, I have to follow things very closely when I get to those omnibuses. There's so much story in here. And man, I wonder what happens. What happens to Hellboy in the end then? Oh man, see. Another thing is, it does say that he falls in love with someone. Not in here, but somewhere else. Actually in here. He falls in love, fell in love with a woman. I wonder if it's Liz. Because in the movies, the 2 original ones, the first ones that came out, I mean, he and Liz have a relationship. So I wonder if that was something that was taken from the comic books, or was something that was, only done for the movie. And that's also sad as well, because Hellboy's never going to see Liz and Abe again, is he? That's it. I mean, Liz will eventually die. I'm not even sure how old she probably is at that point. I don't know about Abe. Maybe Abe will live a long time. He's not human after all. But yeah, it's so sad not to imagine them together anymore, or him with anyone else. I mean, the professor does die like all the way in the first omnibus. But still, it's sad. I wonder where this is going to lead him next. What are these other things he's going to have to do? One of those ghosts, they're not ghosts, there's something else, I just don't remember. Edward Grey becomes one of them in that in that one shot. So I wonder if whatever he had to do before, if that was that supposed to be Hellboy's fate? Nah, I'm guessing not. And was he influenced by one of these ghosts to kill Satan? Because Hellboy didn't particularly want anything to do with this. A lot of questions. A lot of interesting stuff to get through. Alright, let's go through some art. I'm sorry. Well, as you know, I really love Mike Mignola's art. It's actually one of my dreams to one day I don't get him to autograph something for me. Well, I have a lot of somethings for him to autograph. Alright, there's Hellboy fighting. I won't show you all of this, even though it's not new. There's Baba Yaga. Now Albo fights that dragon, then he gets killed. Yeah, there we go. You see her. Now she has his eye. There's Edward Grey. I like our Mr. Grey. There's this Duke. This one here. Yeah, he's very pissed off at Hellboy. For obvious reasons. Oh, and this is Hellboy's mother. This woman here. This is how he was conceived. Or, well, not conceived, but it was birth. Oh, look at him. He's so small and cute. When he still had one normal hand. Well, two normal hands, I mean. Those are... let me show you his... Alright, that's one brother. That's the other brother. The one with the white hair. And that's the uncle. You see right there with the horns. That's one of these ghosts. That's Hellboy going and killing Satan. Let me show you this gentleman that... There we go, this is that gentleman. You say it was a soldier. As always, the colors, and of course I love this art style of Mike Mignola. The colors are great as well. They work very well. There we go, that's the snake, as you can see. So yeah, it was in the world of the living, and then, well, that's the grandmother. Get a load of her. That's it. I'll show you that there's some sketches here with some notes from Mike Mignola, so that's pretty cool. I actually already had the design for Sir Edward Grey way before he started working on the story. Apparently he likes to draw bugs. Okay, now these are the covers for when this... Oops, sorry. When this came out in single issues. So this is issue 1. This is for issue 2. Issue 3. Issue 4. Oops. And now this is a variant cover for, I think, issue 1 maybe. Check that fight out. And that's it. That was this Hellboy graphic novel. Oh, there we go. It was great to read some more Hellboy finally. I need to sit on my Hellboys. I have a lot to read. Alright, so that was the story. As always, I fucking loved it. I can't wait to learn more. And that is it. Let me know if you read this one. What did you think about it? Have you read the Hellboy omnibuses? What do you think of the stories? And that is it. Now remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!